You are Locked On Tigers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Sweep, sweep, sweep. How about it? It's going to be really tough to contain my excitement tonight. Welcome into a live Locked On Tigers Postcast. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. And what a night, what a week, what a month. This is just, it's improbable what these Detroit Tigers are doing. And welcome into the live Locked On Tigers Postcast, your instant reaction show. Fired up as always to be with you. And we thank you for making the Locked On Tigers Postcast your post-game destination for all things Detroit Tigers and the place to be following just incredible victory after incredible victory and a series sweep over the Kansas City Royals. We thank you for making Locked On Tigers Postcast your first listen, free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. The Locked On Tigers Postcast is brought to you by Game Time. What time is it? Game time. It's game time for the Tigers. And I got to tell you, it's been so fun watching this team. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Now, the Tigers get it done tonight, 4-2. You had Skubal on the mound. This was a game you felt like you had to win. And in the early going, especially, two really good starting pitchers, both of them struggling a little bit early on, but credit Skubal. He settled down. I know he would have wanted to go longer than 5 innings, but what do we always talk about on the program? Gave his team a chance to win. And the young guys, I mean, my goodness, love Riley Greene, had the bomb, just an absolute no doubt about her. And Jake Rogers running that ball out in the early going in the second inning when the Tigers scored there. But our guy coming over at the trade deadline, now perhaps even, I know I'm getting excited, and that's going to happen 7 more times tonight, but maybe the shortstop of the future, Trey Sweeney, with the 2-run double in the third inning to right, scoring Spencer Torkelson and Jace Young. What a slide. And the call was just electric. The call is always electric, especially when the Tigers are playing this well. But Jason Benetti and Andy Dirks, what a crew they've been. And Jason Benetti just exclaims dexterity for days as Jace Young somehow slides in to beat the tag because the throw beat him. And Perez, the catcher for the Royals, just was unable to make the tag. Tigers go up and don't look back. Now, there's some things to clean up when you look at that 8th inning, the double from Bobby Witt Jr., which is just so ironic that was the double that broke the single season record. I got to double check. It was either single season record for the Royals in franchise history for extra base hits or specifically doubles. Either way, it was a bloop job, and the Tigers got to clean that up because it was misplayed completely by McKinstry in third, but that's not his ball. It's got to be Sweeney's ball. The shortstop has the angle. Benetti said maybe he lost it in the lights or something, but just the Bermuda Triangle over there, as Andy Dirks called it on the broadcast, that can't happen. But credit to the Tigers. They didn't let the floodgates open there. I think they showed a lot of poise, and you got to hand it to the pitching staff, especially Sean Gunther, to not let that why am I blanking? Hanifee, yeah, and Brenan Hanifee on not letting that spiral out of control. It's a crazy ballpark. We've seen that episode way too many times over the years as Tigers fans. But my goodness, to go to Kansas City in the midst of a wild card chase. Now we're chasing down. It doesn't matter. They had the graphic on the telecast, if you watch it, of the Tigers logo through the jungle. We're just chasing down everybody, whether it be the Kansas City Royals, whether it be the Minnesota Twins, and we're creating distance in front of the Boston Red Sox and Seattle Mariners, and we're just hunting. We are hunting in the jungle, and that's just incredible stuff. And to be a Tigers fan, I said this Monday night, I'll say it, I said it last night, I'll say it again tonight. think of those long nights we had in the summer in June and July where it just looked like this season was a wash. And I was guilty of it. I was yelling at management saying, and old man screaming at clouds, because that's what I do. But wow, AJ Hinch deserves a lot of credit, but the players deserve a lot of credit since the turn of the calendar into August, being the best team in baseball, and the way this team has just come together. And I know winning's contagious. That's going to happen when you're winning. But I mean, the camaraderie, the chemistry, you name it. This is a scrappy young team. This is an athletic team that play the game the right way. And man, it has just been so fun to watch. And we're getting a little help from the Cleveland Guardians. And again, that tastes like vinegar, just having to root for and verbally express your support for the Cleveland Guardians, but anything in the state of Ohio for that matter. But hey, we're in the midst of a wild card race, and it's all about chasing that team in front of us. So if the Guardians can help us out, which they did tonight, which was also crazy, because when the Tigers went ahead, it was simultaneous with the Guardians. I think it was Josh Naylor that hit the home run. And then eventually that game goes to extra innings. And I got the dual monitors going on the MLB TV with the Tigers on the big screen, of course. But then I'm watching on my laptop the Twins and Guardians game in extra innings. And the Twins go ahead by 2. And I'm thinking, all right, no harm, no foul. We're not going to lose any ground because the Tigers are going to go win this game. And then in the bottom half of the 10th, again, I feel funny, rooting for the Cleveland Guardians, but they not only come back down 2 runs, and obviously the runner on second to begin the inning helps, but they get the RBI single and then eventually walk it off. And I'm just fist bumping. Let's go. The Tigers are a half game back from the Minnesota Twins in the American League wild card race, and just 2 games back of the Kansas City Royals. Wow, we got a ton of people tuning in, and why wouldn't we? It's a live Locked On Tigers postcast, so I would be remiss if I didn't thank everybody for tuning in. And while you're here, do us a favor, subscribe to the channel. We've built this channel from scratch, dating back to when the season started. Locked On Sports Detroit. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, but we are our own post-game destination. So that's why you get the audio file. If you're new around here, you can always get the audio file on Locked On Tigers, but the YouTube is our own Locked On Sports Detroit. It's your home for Locked On Tigers postcast, Locked On Lions postcast, Locked On Wolverines postcast, and Locked On Pistons postcast. So it is your post-game destination. Now, it's a collaborative environment as well, so let's get to some comments. We know we got a lot of people that want to chime on in, and why wouldn't we begin with Detroit Sports Talk? I love this team so much. It's filled with gritty players. That's right. Gritty players. The Jace Young slide was perfect. That's why I chose it for the thumbnail on tonight's episode. Zing Dad is up next. The bullpen gave up a run. Next up, Baltimore. Just play our game. The Tigers. This is a wild ride we are on. Yes, the bullpen did give up a run, but man, I think that's a little, tongue in cheek, obviously, for how good that they've been. But when a 4-1 game, I mentioned that 8th inning where the Royals score a run, it could have been way worse. The crowd started to get into it, and I admit I was nervous, but that was so good to be nervous and exciting, because we just haven't had this type of exciting baseball to dial into on a nightly basis. There is just nothing like it. All right, up next, Garrett Thridings, an amazing win by the Tigers. Absolutely. 71 SMB's got the brooms out. No doubt about it. Hannah Banana 90. Oh my gosh, tomorrow night they could be tied with the Twins. That's right. Very important to point out the schedule now, because off day tomorrow, off day Monday as well. So things working in the Tigers' favor as far as the opportunity to rest up, continue to let that bullpen, be at full strength for this huge weekend series in Baltimore. We've got more brooms being sent in, and why not? And also, while you're doing me a favor of subscribing to the channel, go ahead and like the video as well. That helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. I hate that we have to say that, but it is what it is. So I appreciate that as well. Dennis says, hell yeah, go Tigers. Zing Dad says Cleveland scores 3 in the 10th. Are you kidding me? It's just it was another night you're just going to remember with how things were just going the Tigers' way. And they've earned this. In playing the brand of baseball that they have, things will start to go your way. And again, I know Tarik Skubal wasn't his best tonight with the 5 innings, but he got the job done. The offense does enough, and the complementary baseball that this team is playing, combined with getting some breaks from Cleveland and Minnesota not playing a good brand of baseball, that's what it's all about in the month of September. So appreciate everybody tuning in, and Hannah Banana with the Minnesota fans. Absolutely. Soul Blaster 59 with this win and Twins loss. Tigers are 1 game within the wild card. Orioles may be a bit difficult, but I see at least 2 wins, and the White Sox are easy wins. That's right. Tigers are going to close it out at home first against the Tampa Bay Rays, followed by the season series finale against the Chicago White Sox. So you got to love that as far as the way the schedule is playing out. But we got a lot to get to. I want to talk about the way this offense jumped on a good pitcher and Alec Marsh early, and then the way the bullpen took it the rest of the way, because I think those were important components. And on a fun victory Wednesday evening, we're going to continue to chop it up as well. So don't go anywhere. Back in a moment on Locked On Tigers Postcast. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Tigers Postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. You know by now, FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. We've been telling you all about FanDuel all season. Why wouldn't we? The official betting partner of Major League Baseball. For live odds, you just got to go to visit FanDuel.com. I'm looking forward to cashing my future bet of Tarik Skubal to win the Cy Young I made before the season. Pat myself on the back for that one. But how about something a little different from FanDuel? That's right. We've got something a little different for you now through September 22nd. All FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. So just visit FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. This episode of the Locked On Tigers Postcast is also brought to you by Game Time. What time is it? Game time. Look, you're going to want to get out to the ballpark to see this Tigers team close out the season. It could be a historical complete to the wild card race in comeback fashion in epic proportions over the weekend or the following weekend against the Chicago White Sox. So here's how you got to get tickets to the game. Use the Game Time app, my friends. It's that easy. It's the only ticketing app I have because it's simply the best. There's no gimmicks in games with the Game Time app. My favorite part of the Game Time app is the all-in pricing. Now, you got to toggle this feature and turn it on in the app, and it will show you the total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. What a concept. Am I right? How many of us have used an app where you think you're getting a great deal? You go to checkout. Yep, that's right. Yep, me. And then fee. And it's not so much of a great deal anymore. So you use that all-in pricing, toggle that feature in the app. It's going to tell you the total upfront cost. I also love the low price guaranteed because Game Time will credit you 110% the difference if you find a better deal. And they guarantee the lowest price possible. And even as you get closer to the game time, how about that little play? The price is going to go down, and that's part of the Game Time low price guaranteed. Now, the other part, security, peace of mind. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So as you can tell, it checks every single box. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. It's real simple. Terms apply. Create that account, redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB, $20 off, and download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time. Okay, so this game got off to a good start for the Tigers. I was a little disappointed in not being able to cash in that first inning because the Tigers, you look at the way that game started, you felt like they were all over Alec Marsh in the beginning of the first inning. You get the, even though Parker Meadows was out, the line drive to begin the game, then he hits Carpenter. You get Wenzel Perez, who's been playing so well, by the way, with the single. Carpenter goes all the way to third. Unfortunately, Riley Greene, he did, Alec Marsh, that is, kind of find his pitches against Riley Greene, and then Torque walks, but Jace Young strikes out with the bases loaded. Now, Royals come back and score in the home half of the first inning, and you're thinking, all right, Scoobs, dial it in. And he did. You knew he would. Love the resiliency shown by the Tigers in that second inning. They wasted no time in coming back and tying that game. And with McKinstry drawing a walk and then getting to second on the wild pitch, and eventually coming around to score on the Jake Rogers swinging bunt that was the throwing error as well. And that's another thing. I think the Tigers, and if I'm a Royals fan, if I was hosting Kansas City Sports Talk Radio, let's say tomorrow morning, I would be livid with the inability to play their best baseball. I mean, Kansas City didn't get here by accident. They're a good team. They're a great baseball team, but they just, the moment seemed too big a couple of times. They made some uncharacteristic errors. And I don't want to point that it's Bobby Witt Jr. is one of the most exciting baseball players in the league right now. And he's going to be maybe, I think he's certainly on a track to be a Hall of Famer, and he certainly strikes fear in the opposition, but I don't think he played his best baseball. And this is not to break down the Royals. I'm Locked On Tigers postcast, but again, if I'm a Royals fan, I just think, man, this series got the best of us. The moment was too big a couple of different times, and that throwing error in the second inning, allowing Jake Rogers, and it was a tough play, I get that, but it wasn't the only mistake that the Royals made. They had 2 errors on the night, and just little things, the sacrifice fly or not running home on that the game. I can't remember if it was, it would have been Monday night, where Veerling is catching that foul ball and they don't challenge the arm, and maybe it wouldn't have worked out, but the Tigers played with an edge. The Royals did not. I think it's the easiest way to chalk that up. But then you get to the top of the third, Riley Greene, man, he launched that ball, put it into orbit. No doubt about it. Credit to him. I believe that's the 24th of the season from Riley Greene. But man, his swing and they talked about this on the broadcast. Something about a home run swing from a lefty is just chef's kiss. Just incredible stuff from Riley Greene. And yes, to confirm, it is his 24th home run of the season. What a year he's had. He's been the all-star for the Detroit Tigers, even with missing some time. Now, that's when Skubal was settling in. He went several innings in a row without allowing a hit, but he did kind of run out of gas there in the 5th inning. He got out of the jam in the 5th with the big strikeout, and we all love the emotional Tarik Skubal. The photo of him, that's just great stuff. Inject that into my veins. There is no doubt about it. You got to love that. But then the bullpen comes in, and you got to give them credit, as we have all series long. The bullpen was really, really good again tonight. And I know they squander the streak of scoreless innings with that run in the 8th that the Royals scored, but you got to believe that that's a play that, it wasn't like they were, the Tigers were getting shelled around. It was a blue pit and kind of a fluke play that hopefully, and I say hopefully, but Sweeney had to have lost that ball in the lights, because that's not McKinstry's play from third at all. Because with Hanifee pitching and Bobby Witt Jr. getting the double and then the single, that's where you felt like, oh boy, the floodgates could be coming open here. The crowd was getting into it, but you got to give Gunther a lot of credit. Comes in, gets the double play, and that's when I was fist bumping, yelling at the TV, and then gets Renfroe to fly out after the walk to Gurriel. So job well done. And then into the 9th to close it all up, Gunther gets the line drive out, and then Will Vest comes in to get the last 2 outs. And man, oh man, you got to love this team. There's no other way to put it. And this is what we had hoped for. It's long overdue. It's been so long since the Tigers have had this type of electricity around the team. They've been playing meaningful baseball, and as a collection of some of the best baseball fans in the country, we deserve that, right? Let's enjoy it. So want to get to a few more comments here, and I gotta admit, no producer, so I apologize. It's just me back here, and so I'm going to go through as many of these comments as we can. We'll go with IT Hips. I can't believe what I'm watching. This is surreal right now. Absolutely. Off day tomorrow, which I think Benetti made a good point. The players need an off day. Us fans need an off day as well. All right. E. Warren says, I wouldn't know. I was hopeful Dingler based on his batting. And my apologies. We got conversations going on. Jim and Denise, 3 walks for Torque. Absolutely. And interesting point here from KL Shreen. And could potentially, with the 2 off days, accelerate Skubal's return to get him back pitching. And we talked about this a little bit when Skubal was going to pitch against the Rockies in the finale, and we all know how that game went. You can't really count on anything in baseball. I mean, these guys are all professionals. We used to say at the college level, hey, they're on scholarship too. So even though it might seem like a good idea, I'm not sure if the Tigers will accelerate his return. Although with the 2 off days, it definitely is possible. All right. This one from Rufus Elgato de Baseball. He's a regular on the Locked On Tigers postcast. I did not have Sweep the Royals on my Tigers bingo card, but hey, yeah. Now, I did ask that question in the communities tab. So if you're on the YouTube quite often, I try to send out as many poll questions on the community tabs as I can. And I said, predict how many games the Tigers will take from the Royals. A couple people said a sweep would be great, but again, that's what this Tigers team has done. They've been proving us wrong, which is just incredible stuff. So Tigers get the win tonight over the Royals, 4-2. They sweep the series. Minnesota falls to the Cleveland Guardians, and that's right. The Tigers are a half game back of Minnesota. The Twins do have the tiebreaker, and the Tigers are just 2 games back of Kansas City. Wow. Buckle up, my friends. It's going to be an incredible ride. Off day tomorrow before 3 on the road against the Baltimore Orioles, and then the final 6 games with an off day sandwiched in between at home. Or I apologize. It'll be off day for the travel day after the Baltimore game and on Sunday, and an off day on Monday, and then 3 with the Rays and 3 with the White Sox. So buckle up, baby. Can hardly wait. It's going to be incredible. Okay. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to get to, including a reaction to how AJ Hinch has been managing this team. He's been meeting with MLB Network on the media side of things, and this AJ Hinch guy, a whole new person. You got to love it. Back in a moment. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast, brand new sponsor alert. How about that? Pleased to introduce, let's give a shout out to a brand new sponsor here on the Locked On Tigers postcast, Arena Club. How about that? That's right. Now, Arena Club, it's real simple. Let me tell you how it works. For most of us, we love collecting cards, and if you're into cards, you gotta listen up. And the idea of spending $2,000 or more on maybe a Luka or Elly De La Cruz, Patrick Mahomes rookie card, it's just not in the budget, right? It's not in the cards. But hey, I love collecting cards, and that's some serious money to drop. Now, thanks to slab packs from arenaclub.com, it's possible to score gem mints for a fraction of the retail price. Every card that was listed above, that's right, Luka, Mahomes, you name it, every card, that's right, every card that was listed was a hit from last week's Arena Club slab pack drop. Now, the Arena Club is the only repack that provides a real value, a complete view of all possible cards, and clear hit rates for each one. Arena Club slap packs are revolutionizing the repack game with transparency. We all love that. We know that's important. After your pulls are revealed, they'll immediately be placed in your showroom for safekeeping, selling, trading, or auction. You gotta love that. The Arena Club grading process is accurate, fast, and transparent, with a full grade rationale provided and explained of how your card was scored. So whether you're buying, selling, trading, or displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform you gotta check out. That's right, Arena Club. Right now, you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/lockedonmlb. Let me give you that one more time. arenaclub.com/lockedonmlb and use code LOCKEDONMLB. LOCKEDONMLB. That's arenaclub.com/LOCKEDONMLB. Code LOCKEDONMLB for 10% off your first purchase. You gotta love it. All right, closing out one of the most exciting Locked On Tigers postcasts we've had, and it's just been the most exciting Locked On Tigers postcast week in the history of the Locked On Tigers postcast, because it's the first year we've been doing it. So I would be remiss if I didn't thank everybody for tuning in. The numbers have just boom, just skyrockets like the Dan Campbell gif of just up, 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 which is a good reminder. We've got Locked On Lions postcast on Sunday, a little bit later. They're out in the desert, so make sure you join us for that. Make sure you're checking out Locked On Tigers each and every day with Scott Bentley, and he's having fun. We're all having fun, and why wouldn't we? I mean, this is what we live for after, quote unquote, suffering through the dog days of summer. Now we are here. So check out Locked On Tigers with Scott Bentley, Locked On Lions with Matt Derry, all part of the Locked On Network. And it's also awesome. Just like the Tigers have a lot of chemistry and camaraderie, we do as well here at Locked On. So that being said, the Tigers off day tomorrow, which again, say what you will, I think an off day will be nice because they got to kind of it's exhausting. It's a roller coaster. Fortunately, this time the roller coaster has been electric, but you also need that time to regroup, rejuvenate, that sort of thing, and get ready for a huge weekend series against the Baltimore Orioles at Camden Yards in Baltimore. No starter's been announced for Friday, but Reese Olson will start on Saturday. And right now, according to the Tigers' probable starter projections on MLB.com, Skubal is listed as the starter on the first game of the series against the Rays, which would be Tuesday, September 23rd, and no announced starter for that finale in Baltimore on Sunday, September 22nd. So we'll keep you abreast of that. We'll continue to live with this team because, man, this has been a lot of fun. Appreciate all the comments. We got a couple more that we can get to. And I love that there's the participation, there's the excitement. I would also want to add, I was listening to the Buster Olney podcast today talking about how good this Tigers turnaround has been. And they said maybe the Tigers get crazy this offseason and go after a guy like Alex Bregman or Christian Walker. And, maybe that might be the end of the book on Spencer Torkelson. But hey, if the payroll certainly has the flexibility, we know Chris Ilitch has the funds. He's one of the richest owners in baseball, and there's no salary cap. So why not go wild this offseason? But we'll continue to break that down at some point. It's so hard to mix that type of conversation in when we're so ecstatic after a game. We got to talk about the game. If the Tigers were still 9.5 games back like they were in late August, we'd be talking all about our free agency targets. But this is now, like Scott Harris said on MLB Network, we haven't thought about the offseason at all, which is refreshing because it's all right in front of us, baby. Can't wait to continue to ride with this team. Everybody enjoy the off day tomorrow. Take a deep breath. Let's get geared up for an awesome weekend series against the Baltimore Orioles. Thanks so much for tuning in. Like I said, appreciate everybody liking today's video, subscribing to the channel. Our goal, we got to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the season. Last time I checked, we were at 840. I know we can get to 1,000, maybe even before the next game against the Baltimore Orioles. How about that lofty goal? But appreciate everybody tuning in. Have a wonderful night. Go Tigers, a sweep over the Kansas City Royals, now 80-73 on the season, 4-2 the final, and Tarik Skubal gets his 17th win of the season. That ties Chris Sale for the lead in all of Major League Baseball, and you can give him the Cy Young Trophy. This is incredible stuff. All right, have a great night. We'll talk to you on Friday here on Locked On Tigers Postcast and Locked On Sports Detroit. Thanks so much for tuning in.